have ourselves this best of 3 starting up. I'm actually kind of excited about this one. So on the bottom left-hand side, the red Terran player is Kelazhur. He did nab that win off of, yeah, he did nab that win off of, DNS already, so that's a good start to this group for him. That's a big plus. See how this plays out from here. As we get into more these next few minutes. So, yeah, Kelazhur in the bottom left, Scarlett in the top right. She also took down DNS, and she's also taken out TLO. The win here would cement Scarlett in first place and gets to advance to the round of 8, which happens on Saturday next week. So, of course, the tournament definitely gets a bit tougher from there because the rest of the groups in this tournament are not made up of players such as the players today, who are obviously playing from the past and so on. Or players who are a little bit less active. They're going to be made up of players who are just a bit older, who are still playing actively. So yeah, the competition definitely gets a little bit tougher here, to say the least. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of it being difficult. Like I say, this group's definitely been some good fun so far, so enjoying it, having a good time. Hopefully you guys in the chat on the Twitch and on the YouTube are having a good time as well. Appreciate you all dropping by and watching some Boomer Bash with us today. Appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. We do have our spawning pool coming about, our hatchery coming up as well. A couple more drones being added on as we speak. Command center builds on up. Get that started too. Yeah, and a couple of queens, the lings, continue to come about here. And get this on the way. Let's just see what our plan's going to be. A couple marines early, going to try and get this overlord, chases it back towards the front. And obviously we'll find some high ground, but that means that you will not really get forward to get any more scouting info in, so there's not much else you can really see from this right now. That is just pretty much it for the moment, so that will be a little bit of a stopping point. There's a couple marines going to nibble their way still through. The rocks right here as well. We have some Zerglings already approaching forward. Things are going to hang about. Again, the Starport going to be there. It's going to fight. Again, we push back a little bit so far. A little bit of chase away to begin with. And so far, otherwise, so good. Queens gather. Gonna settle down for a couple of moments at the front. Obviously, the Marauders start, so we're gonna see Kelazhur probably adding on an armory here and getting ready to play very, very aggressively to start this one off as well. So we are gonna see some aggression absolutely coming through on the side of Kelazhur. This is, you don't build Marauders just for fun and games, you know. Although the supply block not exactly gonna help. No concussive shells actually. But there's another Marauder. Like I say, this does continue to look then as though we're likely going to be seeing a very, very aggressive Terran in the next few moments. There is the armory coming up. I do feel like we're not getting the concussive shells. It's a mistake if he doesn't get it, but he does start it up now, so the timing probably will just still work out there. So that's nice. Cool to see. A couple of Hellions gather up, and obviously we are getting ourselves ready to go. Viking gonna start firing. The Overlord taking some damage, a few shots coming through. I really having roaches out is going to put a big stop to this for the most part. I mean, there's not much you can do when the roaches are already here and firing up on you, right? So it's going to already make your life a little difficult. As the Hellions, the Marauders gather up, the Viking going to move back and forth a little bit as well, so also trying to figure out what direction it would like to go in, perhaps here for the most part. See, Kelazhur obviously realizing this wasn't really working out, so he goes with a drop into the base. Obviously would like to still try and find some damage if at all possible. He'd love to get something done here. I mean, at this stage it's already going to be quite difficult, but may as well give it a go. And we do end up with 8 drones, so in the end I would say it's actually fairly successful. 8 drones ain't nothing to laugh about. That's a decent bit of damage done, albeit a bit later than expected. I say, I think you just take that one, alright? I think you just take that as a win. You just try and roll with this from here at this point on. As that Viking comes back around the side again, looking to see what can maybe happen. Let's start putting some damage onto this hatchery. If for nothing else, just acts as a little bit of a distraction once again as we continue to come through and settle in with some other directions of attack. Kelazhur trying to be very proactive. Was always one of the faster players, Kelazhur, and very multitask heavy. He's going to get straight at this natural, and Scarlett's defense completely out of position, so Kelazhur is going to go a roasting. 12, 14 drones going down very quickly. I mean, that's massive damage here, and that is rough, as Scarlett just left her base open to attack. And, yeah, that's going to be a very quick way to see a lot of damage being done. That is a little bit brutal, in fact, so yeah, that is rough. Bouncing back from this is actually going to be kind of difficult. 28 drones end up dying. That's so much damage. That absolutely makes up for what was 100% so far before this point, a slow start. We're in much better stead right now. After that, that's much is for certain. Wow, that is some really incredible damage. Holy. Yeah, that was rough. As the Viking continues to sit up onto the top side. Viking just going to chill there. The Spore will relocate over to the left a little bit. It's just going to reposition slightly. Four tanks going to re-siege themselves a little bit as well. Obviously, Gasar's defensively plays. After that attack, you're maybe going to have to respect the idea that Scarlett might just try and pick it up and go and just send it before that economy deficit kicks in. In which case, you need to be positioned defensively. That's why the tanks set up as they do. Obviously, in this case, we can see Scarlett does not seem to be just full sending it, but like I say, it's never a bad idea to be prepped. It costs you nothing to siege your tanks preemptively as well. Especially as you just continue right now to not make a bigger move onto the map, but instead just let your advantage sink in a little bit by moving around with the drops. Scarlett has obviously rebuilt the workers, so the workers are back, and she is back into, you know, comfortable worker lead. It's just the cost that comes with. However, that's a nice fungal as she tries to get to the infestors here. Like, in general, Scarlett's just going to be a little bit slow on transitioning away from that initial roach style and into everything else. And I wonder if the infestors are actually kind of a choice based on that, and the concept that she is definitely going to be playing from a little bit of behind right now. And so she just goes into the infestors as like, okay, well, if nothing else, these things can kind of keep you back. These things can keep you away from getting into trouble. See the melee upgrade, the +2 carapace, the ling speed, all of that continue to come about now as the T2 upgrades coming around, the +1 vehicle weapons coming up as well. Continue to bring that into action as Kelazhur doing what I think Kelazhur is actually fairly well known for, which is going for the mega drops, so sending those straight out onto the map. A handful of medevacs coming straight over. The quad drop into the main base obviously has been successful so far, catching Scarlett off guard and not quite in the correct position defensively. Can this happen again now? Like I say, I think it's not a bad call, because this is definitely just what you could say as well. Exactly what Kelazhur enjoys doing the most. Like, he is at his best when he's being aggressive like this. Drop straight in, and Scarlett, yeah, she didn't get any kind of inkling that this was on its way, so she'll start to take some damage. That Bioforce stemming through, quite a few lings going down. The Roach Ravager continues to run straight back in over here as well, so just comes straight through as well. Now the bio hits on the right-hand side. Can these infestors make a difference? Kelazhur has a little bit of a pre-split. And I think this gets cleaned up, but Scarlett's taking mega damage, and the drop in the main base is still very much so putting some work in as well. The queens are still dropping up in that main base too, so yeah, this is becoming more and more of a problem. This hatchery goes down. And Kelazhur probably runs out of steam here, but like I say, you're running out of steam after already having been extremely successful. So it's hard to really complain or criticize or anything along those lines right now. In general, this is looking pretty darn reasonable. Another round of Marines. Full step straight on forward. The tank's coming forward too. I mean, Kelazhur just looking to capitalize while the fire is hot already. And he's just going to come straight over, whack away, and put himself into scary positions that Scarlett very much so has to respect, obviously. Ain't no slacking allowed in a scenario like this one. They do have an Ultra that came through, but yeah, not really going to get kindness playing on them, so you're not even going to let those Ultras power up to full force. And Kelazhur, when the opening attack didn't seem to do too much, still finds a way, got in for some Hellion damage with the drop initially, and then the run by with some of the maps in the map pool for this one. So, like I said, I'm not sure how much experience Kelazhur has on this, but I guess it'll be fun to figure out as we get this underway. Kelazhur is our red Terran in the top right corner of Sandworm. Taking on the blue Zerg in the bottom left, we've got Scarlett. So it is going to be a game number 2. Like I say, here on Sandworm, let's see what we get. Let's see what happens. Let's just have Iraqs and the gas coming through, the couple drones coming about, a hatchery coming up as well. The Scarlett was kind of the one who was just playing the reactive game last game. There's this gold base as well as we just fly over it. I think that's worth mentioning. I think that gold has a lot of potential in a matchup like this one. In a TVZ where that gold is expandable on both sides, realistically. I think there's a lot of possibility to be taking that gold base here at some point. So definitely expecting that to be a bit of a factor at some stage. We get this ready to roll. Just going to be having that Reaper is on its way out. Depot coming down. Hatchery finishes up on the natural. It's just going to get that completed. It comes down the bottom left-hand side. Kelazhur coming straight over. Going to try and pressure straight through with this Reaper as well. So we'll see what we can do. For a few moments again, Command Center and the factory both continue to come up and online. So we'll chase. A couple of Zerglings going to get hunted around. Again, that Reaper very much so trying to get to a couple of those Lings. The Queen is going to be there as well. Let's chase that Reaper back the other way. And the Queen will fire up a few more shots. So Reaper again, still just taking a few hits, nothing too crazy overall for the moment. Queen at the front, Reaper going to be hanging around. We actually see that Reaper hopping up into the main base. chest away. Queen's doing their job. In the area clear. Making sure that no trouble comes of this situation. So, yeah, just doing a nice job of, again, handling this and making sure, like I say, nothing crazy is happening. We do see a couple of Hellions going to make their way out across the map, so they're going to go straight on over to that bottom side. A couple of Queens will be setting up as we speak. And, yeah, these Hellions step forward. The Queens are going to be there, so the Hellions get turned around immediately. The Hellions and the Reaper. Going to try and find a different direction as... Going to head toward the natural. Two Zerglings going to get roasted there as we begin to move through. Again, the Banshee and the Cloaking all coming up as well. Trying to bring up as much of that as possible here as the Reaper does indeed turn back to the center. Queen just gathers up. Gets going on that third base, continue to move that through here for the moment. Something really interesting with the teeth in the center obviously mixes up a little bit of how you can move around, a little bit of what units can fit through the middle. Kelazhur heads into the engineering base as his next step of this, so gets that on the way as well, gets that going. Maulings and the Queens and joining up together there too. Still got our orbital command, just going to fly on forward. Going to get to the front over the next few moments and get settled down, as it will take the gold base. So we're going to go for the gold base third. Definitely not something we see every time, but be able to put that straight to work here. And like I say, gold base as the third is pretty nice overall. So the Ling's able to get rid of the rocks on the other side, so Scarlett obviously looking for a fourth base there on the gold. And if Kelazhur gets away with this gold base, like I say, he's going to be loving his life. He can push forward from the middle of the map here, and I wonder if he just like 8 racks pushes and just never stops. Might be not a bad way of going about this, right? The concept being that you're going to A, have boosted economy with the gold, and you're already playing from the middle of the map, so pushing forward from the middle of the map is going to be nicely done. And so you can just put on that pressure that oftentimes it feels as though it just never ends, basically. So we will see. This feeling still putting their work in, doing their thing. Middling through that set of rocks right here, so just opening up for a little bit. Taking a step forward, we will see a couple of those creep teamers already beginning to go down, so again we get a bit of damage done right off the bat. Yeah, there's the extra barracks, but Night is never coming up from Scarlett, so she's maybe looking to get aggressive before this even really becomes a factor, huh? An interesting way of going about it. I'm intrigued. Could be a very interesting way to go about this, is just have Knight is then going to go up into the back of the main base. Kelazhur watching. He pulls the SCVs now. Does he have anything else nearby is maybe a better question. Even if you notice it, if you're not nearby, then it doesn't really matter. Scarlett attacking at the front. Kelazhur should be fine if he just survives this and doesn't let too much happen of it. And he does get the denial in the main base, so that Nidus does not manage to go up at all. So no success right there. Roach is going to strike through. They're going to get a couple of pickoffs as well. So again, nicely done for them for a couple of moments. We'll have ourselves the Knight is coming up at the front. So Scarlett is going to try and attack in here. I'm not really a believer though. As 1-1 finishes up, I just do not see this being enough right now to actually make this happen. I really do not, but would be very happy to be proven wrong, because I want to see a, you know, I want to see a third game between these two, but the way this is setting up, I just do not think it's happening. Rush Ravager kind of getting beaten back already. Scar gonna have to step away. Like I say, not really much choice there. Seeing the nice, the main getting up is nice and all, and 16 SCVs do go down. And this is the problem for Kelazhur, is that Scarlett can keep ping-ponging her attacks, so even when it feels as though she maybe should be defeated and unable to do much else, she can continue to kind of knight us elsewhere and hit somewhere else, and if you've overcommitted to one defense, then the next defense becomes that much weaker, and here she gets rid of 2 of the tanks. I actually think she should have dove for the third. Maybe she just didn't quite notice in the moment how close she really was to that, because I feel like that was a pretty obvious, like, let's just go kill the final tank. Any tank you get rid of is huge, because tanks obviously are your defense, right? So if you're removing tanks from the game, you're removing the defense from the game. Every bit of defense you remove from the game is only going to improve your situation. So yeah, that's generally what you want to be doing as Scarlett, so maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity already. As the Roach Ravager takes a few more shots, continuing to peruse back and forth. Just going back toward the center a little bit. The Roach Ravager will open up some rocks as well, so Scarlett just knocking down and opening up a ramp for her to be able to engage down with a nice position that I'm sure she'll try to put to her use or her advantage. Couple of corrosive balls, still just seeing the medevacs making their way over. I'll cancel on the hatchery. I'm just going to come back through to the center again. There's going to be Marines and tanks pushing forward in this central area, so just getting straight through to the front. Roach Ravager coming through as well, so also going to go chasing the other way. Interesting game, because like I said, Kelazhur was kind of looking to be aggressive himself. Now starts up 3-3 upgrades. On his way to a 4th command center, because, well, why not? Any other choice probably puts you into a worse and worse position, so this is the one that probably makes the most sense, just to kind of get set up into the macro game. Because, like, I mean, I don't know if you're going to break into Scarlett, but having a 4th definitely just seems like a good idea at this point, right? So, it just definitely gets to that stage where it's like, yeah, we should definitely be making precautions. Drop is going to be dealt with nicely. Scarlett can continue to mine her gold. The high ground's annoying. It's one of the negatives of the gold base, right? It is absolutely an issue. And that's, you know, part of the balancing act of this gold base is that the high ground's engageable. But if you take that base behind the gold and you kind of then defend in front of that base, that high ground isn't very reachable, right? So then you're kind of negating one of those problems while solving your next problem, which is where do you have your 5th base. So that, in theory, overall should just be a pretty nice 5th base to hang on to. Definitely one we'll keep an eye on as the Roach Ravager steps forward. Will deal some damage. He's going to fire. Again, Bane Roach going to start stepping forward straight away. As we do have a couple of siege tanks already being knocked away out here, so success as, again, Skull gets some good corrosive files down. Can she keep pushing through? She has one more tank. The problem is you're always pushing into those tanks. I mean, we actually have Vipers on the way up, but she starts to lose some of her Ravagers here. The getaway from Scarlett is going to turn out to be very expensive as Kelazhur is going to come through and absolutely shut that down. So, nice little grab there. Yeah, good chase down by Kelazhur. And you can see Scarlett's supply is kind of just bleeding out right now, so is unable to really stay healthy enough in this scenario. Looks as though we are absolutely running out of steam. Wow. Kelazhur, though, now gets jumped on again. Scarlett does find another little wave of reinforcements. Bane's coming through. The Vipers are ready to maybe try and cast some spells and maybe make a difference. We force some of the Marines to load up into medevacs, and Scarlett will buy herself some time. This fight wasn't near a base or anything either, so Scarlett's in that position where she doesn't lose like a base because she lost the fight initially. So she kind of pushes this back at low cost. The 5th base on the left side starting to mine. 71 drones is not the best economy we've ever seen a Zerg be on. It's obviously very far from the worst economy we've ever seen a Zerg be on as well, though, right? So, like I say, in that regard, it's a very comfortable scenario. Roach Ravager going to take another step forward. The Marines will continue to try and fight back against this. They do enough. Liberator's setting up as well. Some extra damage. We can still deal with those Liberators too. Kelazhur is unable to break through, and Scarlett is so far continuing to hold on. a hell of a performance to hang on in there, because this seemed as though it was going to be absolutely doomed, but it's turned into an anything but kind of scenario, which is kind of a little bit mad. Obviously, having the Hive gives you access to the +3 carapace. The Vipers obviously have been a nice addition as well. Getting some spellcasting is always going to help you that little further too, so it gives you something extra to play with compared to what you maybe had initially. Move about again. Just see the feelings. I'm going to start kind of taking the grab. Let's go see what these abducts do. We're actually going to go for the blind clouds. That's fine. Cheating with 2 tanks there. We probably could have just abducted them both in to make them easy kills, but either or, I think the option's good, and Scarlett's actually going to get to a victory in the end. Wow, what an effort. That was genuinely a very difficult game to play, and was actually very well handled, I think, by Scarlett, who obviously had some scrappy moments, but just about managed to scrap it out to the point where she was able to get to the tech, get to the Vipers, get to the Hive, and so on. And GG, Scarlett takes the 1-1 tie on the top right-hand side, tying this series up after a nail-biter of a game. If you are a Scarlett fan, it is, of course, then Scarlett in the top right side. Because, yeah, it definitely looked like she was a little bit dead at many a point during that one, but did not turn out to be the case at the end of the day. And hence we get to this game 3. Kelazhur in the bottom left is our blue Terran player. He really felt like he had defenses and counterattacks set up to send him to success, but just not quite able to happen in the end. Like I say, obviously Scarlett getting away with that victory to give us this tied up game. I said it in the game, I was like, I really wanted to see Scarlett win because I just wanted game 3. That's a fairly fair request. We've already had some fun matches today. One of these going to a game 3. 2 NA rivals. I'm into it. Very fun, very cool. Very exciting as we have ley lines coming about then. Hatch gas and spawning pool all coming through there. It's just going to get that set off immediately. Get that underway. The Overlord coming down toward the bottom left-hand side of the map as well. Just coming straight through with that. Away we go. Overlord just continues to cruise about for a moment or so there. Take a couple of moments. The Marine gets a few shots off, but nothing that's going to stick. So nothing major to add on to that moment or so. I guess just needed to respond to something quickly as we just still setting up, nothing crazy going on. Early minutes of this game very much so just going to be fairly normal. 3rd CC as well from Kelazhur, so not like the last game where we had that set up to be aggressive. That is not going to be the case this time around, so instead we will just go towards triple CC, play into that, well, I guess last game we actually had the triple CC, right, but not like that game 1. And obviously, this game there's no gold to really take either, so it should just be in general a much more standard, maybe the most standard opening into mid-game that we'll see between the two in this series, unless there are some tricks and surprises coming that I'm yet to be made aware of, so we will see. Seems unlikely at the moment based on where we're currently at. The Hellions will begin to make their way across the map as well, so they're going to get going. Also going to begin to make their move. The Hellions come through, a few shots coming about. And the Roach is building as well, out on the Evolution Chamber, a couple of the Spore Crawlers also coming into play currently. And that all on the way for now. Catch my breath a little bit. Been some fun games as we have a couple of medevacs coming out, and this game will hopefully be spicing up soon. We do have the Hellions going to move over, the Roaches stepping about. +1 missiles is very much so on its way as well, so we see that coming straight on in. Medevacs are still obviously cruising as well, so they will move about and see if they can get anywhere interesting or maybe make something happen at all. So far, so we're seeing not really too much so to chatter about. Obviously, the Marines get there, and then we'll start to apply some pressure, so they're going to come right on through. They will very much so begin to go. Oh, what's up, BGF89? Thank you so much for the 5-month resub on that Prime. Appreciate it, thank you. Hell yeah, thank you for priming us up. As I do have the scan coming around, trying to clean up a little bit of that creep spread wherever available as well. Medevacs and the Marines very much still gathering together, +1 missiles, Roach speed coming up too, so again we just get a go going. And we're starting to see some fights, we're starting to see a couple of engagements. It's not like nothing's going on, just still nothing really overly decisive, I think it's fair to say so far. As yo, Masala, thank you so much for the Prime sub as well, appreciate it, thank you. Appreciate all the love today, guys. Lots of subs today, actually. A very sub-friendly day as our Roaches step through. Those Marines are going to get chased for a little bit as well, so they get pushed back for just a few moments. Marines gathering, and obviously again just the medevacs continue to cruise around, continue to try and find some openings and positions that they can work forward from. They're going to stem forward here, and a couple of troop teamers begin to drop off right off the bat. The Roach Ravager gets there. The medevacs will go loading up and peeling away, so they're just going to back away too. And still got the melee, still got the carapace coming up and online. And Festus getting produced, and the Baneling Nest is also coming into play right now as well. So that Baneling Nest also coming straight into action. Stuff still for the moment. Our Marines and medevacs come back over again, so again we'll try and see where they can get to as we push over to that right hand side. It's just gonna go and go. And Kelazhur started clearing up some more of this creep spread. Obviously, so far, it's mostly been creep clearing, but creep clearing against Scarlett is never a bad thing because she's so good at spreading that creep. You got to be on top of clearing it up, because if you're not on top of clearing it up, you're basically just inviting trouble into your life. So, absolutely has to be something you're on top of and ready to handle and deal with. The medevacs pull back across. The melee upgrades are still very much so coming in. So that those roaches coming through too. Just gonna get there, and the queen will get taken down. Nice catch, queen, just out in the open. Again, if you're getting rid of the creep, then getting rid of queens also then denies the creep from coming back, right? So a little bit of a win-win on that one. And the Marines settle, as you have this push from Kelazhur in a couple different places, trying to figure out just where it is that it's going to try and push. Good fungal growth. Scarlett again introducing those infestors early in her game, trying to help hold off this Terran army. Kelazhur taking a forward fourth base behind this, so this is not just a push that looks to end the game. He's got a backup behind this, which also kind of sets the tone for what Scarlett needs to do, which is to defend this without taking too much damage. Like, sometimes you can lose a base or lose a fight, but it's okay, because in the end, your opponent is very committed. Kelazhur's not overly committed. Like, he has a base coming up behind it. And it actually looks as though we're going to see Kelazhur backing off, which means that Scarlett's going to get to survive through to another stage of this game as well. Should be fairly comfortable getting into that next few moments. So, yeah, there you go. We are getting into a pretty fun couple of seconds here. So you have the Marines and tanks going to pull back again. Actually, Scarlett trying to jump on this. She's coming around from the left side as well, so Scarlett kind of pincering in and making a move right now. Alright, well, Ling's Roach is going to get active over there, trying to force our way up this ramp. Obviously, Kelazhur was not really ready, was not really sieged. Scarlett loses a chunk of supply, but like I said, catches her opponent off a little bit. As you see the order command coming through. SCV's coming about. And those few roaches still getting jumped on as the Lings continue over. 12 SCVs have fallen so far. 13. I mean, Scarlett is not exactly on a great supply coming out of this, but her economy is still good, so should be alright overall, I want to say. Yeah, should be kind of alright overall, I feel like, as we have ourselves the rest of this force coming through. Now there's going to be a couple of creep tumors going down, so we get a bit of damage done. The Marines and the Liberators continue to come across the map as well, so they're going to take some other steps out to the other side. We've seen those Liberators will siege right across this forward base as well, which means they can try and play denial on this mineral line, which is also a nice added bonus here. It's a bit of back and forth. We have our couple of Vipers overhead, very much so. Imagine hoping to be involved here. Interesting fight, because Scarlett's obviously wrapping around the bottom side. Kelazhur set up fairly defensively. Maybe having the few Banes burrowed up there. That would have been an amazing shot, but Kelazhur doesn't end up running over them. He could have grabbed something there with those burrowed Banelings. That would have been spectacular, I'm sure, but as you can see, obviously that's not quite how it's played out. The Banes going to get to this mineral line instead, but there's nothing here still, so there's not much for them to do. Some of them getting blown up by a tank. A few of them did get burrowed in the end. Do we have a scan? I was going to say, please don't let those Marines just walk right back over to them. Three. Very much so, still on the way through currently then, so we continue to bring that about. A Spire, the hatchery. Coming up as well, Scarlett even looking towards our own later stages of the game right now. Ultra Bane stepping through. 12 SCVs going down so far. Once again, Scarlett hits another fairly successful attack for the moment, so again, I'd say a pretty successful couple of seconds there as we commit fairly reasonably. Get some okay damage dealt. Vipers are going to come through the bottom side again. Ling Ultra coming through over here. So we're just going to make ourselves a move and again try and see if we can commit on in. We are going to send it as we're going to see a couple of those Lings and Banes committing through. Vipers still very much so there as well. So away we go once more. On the top side we do get rid of a hatchery. So Kelazhur finding some successful counterattacks during this as well. So it's not going to let this just go down easily. I mean, definitely feels like Scarlett's been the one who's doing a lot of the bullying, doing a lot of the, playmaking, but like I say, that's all well and good. The Kelazhur hasn't died, which means that Kelazhur, if he can still knock down bases, like Scarlett is still in need of bases, right? She can't just give everything up freely. She can't just kind of ditch on this game and just think that we're most of the way there already, we're good. Kelazhur absolutely still has some bite back in this game, no doubt. Those units gather. Scarlett still maxed. Kelazhur coming up to being maxed once more. So again, we're really not far from seeing that be a little bit more of a factor. Step forward and we will have ourselves the couple of ultras actually hitting mineral lines. Bane's going to come in on the bottom side once more. Again, it's difficult to fight through though with the ultras and everything because you're playing into choke points. Choke points obviously really are not your friend. They do not do you a lot of favors. They make your life pretty difficult in fact. So again, you got to be kind of careful about that as come through one more time. Scarlett taking a base in the bottom right side, so again, definitely getting drawn out herself into these later stages, definitely having to continue to stretch out. I mean, that's the thing though, her entire right side in the middle of the map is kind of Scarlett's. Even the top side could maybe be a base that she could look towards taking fairly realistically, so yeah, that part of this looks very, very good. And like I say, I think that's going to be one of those problems as we continue to develop this position. Those lip shots coming about. Just going to be seeing the bio pulling back down over here as well. 17 minutes on ley lines. Hey, we asked for game 3 of this series. Not only are we getting a game 3, we're getting a pretty darn good one. And as we do come moving over, the units are going to unload into the main base. Going to start hitting some of the production lines. There's a couple of racks going down. That Ghost gets picked off. The Bioforce going to come through and hit the Ultra a little bit, or at least try to. Fire, Lings, and Ultras still coming in. The Banes are going to crash in. The Planetary Fortress going down. I mean, again, we get rid of a base, and if Kelazhur can't ever get off of the 4-base setup here and is going to remain kind of stuck on these 4 bases, eventually you get kind of whittled down in this game. So Scarlett has a bunch of money in the bank, so does Kelazhur, but it's not endless. And that's why he needs another base, and that's why it's becoming difficult. Scarlett has control on the 6 o'clock, so the only base he can really take is the left side. I mean, Scarlett obviously would see that as well, and that's going to be kind of one of the issues at the moment. I don't really think that this is getting easier at all for Kelazhur. I mean, Kelazhur can still win some fights, though, and if you can win some fights, you can still see success. Good fungal growth, though. That's not going to win you fights. Oh, my God. Well, that's one way for a game to end in an instant. I mean, Scarlett was controlling. I don't think she was meant to win in the next minute or two. I think that was meant to take a lot longer time. You walk into fungals, and it ain't going to be pretty. GG, Scarlett.